Hokum is a horror mystery about ghosts, folklore, and murder, but underneath that, it's really a story about guilt. Almost every major character is carrying something from their past, and the film explores the different ways people deal with that burden. Some confront it, some hide from it, and some are ultimately destroyed by it. The film begins with Ohm Bauman struggling to finish the final book in his successful Conquistador trilogy. After seeing what appears to be the ghost of his mother, he decides to travel to Ireland and stay at the Bilberry Woods Hotel, where his parents once spent their honeymoon. The trip is supposed to help him lay their ashes to rest, but it quickly becomes clear that he's searching for something deeper. Right away, the film establishes that Ohm is emotionally stuck. His inability to finish his novel mirrors his inability to move on from his past. The ghost of his mother acts as the first sign that the journey will be less about honoring his parents and more about confronting old wounds. At the hotel, Ohm meets the staff and overhears owner Cobb telling children about the Cailleach, a witch who drags people in chains through the underworld. At first, the story feels like typical local folklore designed to create atmosphere around the hotel. As the film continues, however, the witch becomes a symbol of guilt and punishment. The idea of people being dragged away in chains reflects what many of the characters are already experiencing emotionally. They may not be physically imprisoned, but they are trapped by mistakes, regrets, and secrets they can't escape. Although Ohm initially treats the hotel staff poorly, he slowly begins warming to Fiona after she helps identify the location of one of his mother's photographs. Around the same time, he meets Jerry, a local man who lives in a van and regularly consumes mushrooms that supposedly allow him to see things others can't. These relationships are important because they challenge Ohm's isolation. Throughout the film, he acts like someone who has disconnected himself from other people. Fiona and Jerry gradually pull him out of that mindset, even if he doesn't realize it yet. Fiona and Albie tell Ohm about the hotel's mysterious honeymoon suite, which has been locked away for years. Rumors claim that a witch is trapped inside, but Ohm immediately dismisses the story as superstition. The room becomes one of the film's most important symbols. It represents hidden truths and buried memories. Just as nobody wants to talk openly about the suite, Ohm has spent years avoiding painful truths about his own life. One night, Fiona discovers that Ohm has attempted to take his own life. She manages to save him, and he later wakes up in a hospital before returning to the hotel. This scene completely changes how we view the character. His bitterness and emotional distance are no longer personality traits. They're symptoms of someone carrying enormous pain. The film begins shifting away from a simple mystery and toward a story about healing and self-forgiveness. When Ohm returns, he learns that Fiona has disappeared and that Jerry is considered the main suspect. The hotel is now closed for the season, and a sense of unease hangs over everything. The disappearance creates the central mystery of the story, but it also reinforces the film's focus on hidden truths. Just as Fiona has vanished, so has the truth about what really happened to her. While investigating, Ohm confronts Jerry, who claims he saw Fiona's ghost directing him toward the honeymoon suite. Jerry also admits that he killed his wife, though he insists it was a mercy killing due to her illness. What makes Jerry interesting is his honesty. Unlike several other characters, he doesn't hide what he has done. The film repeatedly distinguishes between people who acknowledge their guilt with people who try to bury it. Jerry may be flawed, but he isn't living in denial. After breaking back into the hotel, Ohm eventually enters the honeymoon suite. Inside, he experiences terrifying visions involving his mother and relives a memory he has buried for decades. As a child, he accidentally shot and killed her with his father's gun. This revelation explains almost everything about his character. His depression, isolation, writer's block, and self-destructive behavior all stem from a guilt he has never fully processed. The ghost haunting him isn't just supernatural. It's the physical representation of a trauma that he has spent his entire life running from. While exploring the suite, Ohm discovers Fiona's body hidden inside a dumbwaiter. He also finds a recording that reveals the truth. Fiona was pregnant with Mal's child, and Mal trapped her in the room to keep the secret from being exposed. The mystery suddenly becomes much darker. Unlike Ohm and Jerry, who struggle with guilt over past actions, Mal keeps making things worse in order to avoid consequences. He represents the most destructive response to guilt, refusing responsibility entirely. Locked inside the hotel, Ohm descends into the basement searching for a way out. The supernatural activity grows stronger, and he eventually encounters the witch herself. Using a circle of chalk, he manages to protect himself. The basement functions like a journey into the subconscious. By this point, Ohm has already uncovered Fiona's secret and his own. The deeper he travels beneath the hotel, the deeper he moves into the parts of himself he has spent years avoiding. Mal returns intending to destroy evidence and silence Ohm. He sets the hotel on fire and kills Jerry in an attempt to cover his tracks. As he pursues Ohm through the hotel, he's confronted by the witch, who chains him and drags him into the underworld. The scene pays off the folklore introduced at the beginning of the film. More importantly, it completes Mal's character arc. Unlike Ohm, he never accepts responsibility for his actions. The chains that take him away symbolize the guilt and consequences he spent the entire film trying to escape. While Mal is dragged away, Ohm finally confronts his mother's ghost. Instead of running from the memory, he accepts what happened and lets go of the guilt he has carried since childhood. He then cuts the chains off his wrists and escapes the burning hotel. This is the emotional climax of the film. The difference between Ohm and Mal isn't that one made mistakes and the other didn't. The difference is that Ohm finally accepts the truth, while Mal continues fighting it. The film suggests that healing begins when people stop denying the past. After surviving the fire, Ohm recovers in the hospital. Albie reveals that he secretly mixed Jerry's mushroom powder into Ohm's drink, raising questions about whether the supernatural events were real or hallucinations. However, Ohm notices bruises around his wrists that resemble the chains he experienced in the hotel. The film intentionally leaves the supernatural mystery unresolved. Whether the witch truly exists is ultimately less important than what Ohm learns from the experience. For the first time in years, he's willing to connect with other people, read Albie's manuscript, and finish his own novel with a more hopeful ending. The story ends not with the defeat of a monster, but with a man finally learning how to live with his past. At its core, Hokum is less about a witch haunting a hotel and more about people being trapped by what they refuse to face. The supernatural elements, whether real or imagined, all point back to the same idea. Guilt doesn't stay in the past if it's never dealt with. Ohm's journey is the clearest version of that idea. He starts the film unable to finish a story because he can't accept the truth of his own life. By the end, he's finally able to face it, even if it doesn't erase what happened. That acceptance is what allows him to move forward, both as a person and as a writer. In the end, the question of whether the witch is real becomes secondary. What matters is that Ohm changes. He leaves the hotel not as someone who has forgotten his past, but as someone who is no longer defined by it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.